Welcome to the Shootin' Show. Stand by for shots fired.
Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shootin' Show, and welcome again to this week's program. We certainly appreciate all the letters, all the support, all the orders for the Bullet Express catalog sheet. Everything is certainly a help to our program. We do appreciate everyone calling and writing and hanging in there with us. We've got a long way to go, friends, because we've got to let the rest of the country know just how we are as shooters and gun owners, and let them see how normal people actually act with guns. Absolutely. So we have a great show for you today. We have some exciting things we're going to be covering. I think you're really going to enjoy it, so let's let another shooting show begin. Well, you know, we could shoot that balloon down there with this 41 Magnum, and believe me, it will do it, but how about let's make it a little more interesting. Let's take this little Beretta Model 21A and 22 long rifle, and let's start another shooting show. Hey, incidentally, that is 90 yards down there, and no, I can't do this every time, but let's take a look at it today. Well, friends, you'll notice I've moved out of my cap into my hat because it's another warm day out here, but I'll stress again, like I did last week, I'm wearing my Cool Dana, which is our cooling bandana, literally an air conditioner for your neck. And remember, you can get these from us here at the show. You can get it through the Bullet Express. You can just write the show for these. They're $9.95 plus $2 shipping and handling. And friends, these are terrific because they make it so much more pleasant on extremely hot days. And we may get a little break here. I hear it thundering over there in the northeast there, so we may get a little shower here after a while, kind of break our heat. Anyway, these, we really do recommend them if you work outside, cutting your yard, or on a construction job, anything. All you have to do, of course, you just dip the little bandana here in some cool water, or what's even better, put it in ice water for about 30 seconds to a minute, and it's going to soak up all that cool and ice water, and it really makes it so much more pleasant out here in the heat. It really makes the heat a lot more bearable. Well, anyway, we started our show today with the Beretta Model 21A, and I'm holding here, and of course you can tell this is a very small handgun, and I would have to say this is one of the very best of its type. It is a small double action semi-automatic, and in this particular case I believe I would prefer double action on this particular gun, because if you do happen to get a misfire on the 22 long rifle cartridge, all you have to do is pull that trigger again and gives you another chance. And most of the rim fires, if it's not a real old cartridge, will fire with 2 or 3 hits on it, even if it's a little bit bulky. So let's take a closer look at the little Beretta Model 21A right now. Now, friends, to take a closer look at our Beretta Model 21A, you can see it's a very small gun, literally smaller than the palm of my hand. You have the magazine release here on the side of the grip. Of course, this drops the magazine. It holds 7 in the magazine. And to load the gun, it's very simple for people that may not be able to pull a slide back, or you can just release the barrel through this little tab right here, this little lever, and the barrel comes up. One, you can check it for to see if it is loaded, and certainly 2 loaded or unloaded for that matter. You have a safety, literally, that will function when the hammer is down, or it'll also function with the hammer up, very similar to a 1911. And this is, of course, push our safety off, let the hammer down, a double action gun. If you do happen to get a snap or a misfire on the 22 long rifle cartridge, you always have the option of pulling the trigger again and firing. You know, friends, there are a lot of uses for this particular little gun. I'm not that big a fan of any rimfire for personal defense, with the exception certainly of the 22 Magnum. But in this particular little gun, we have seen surprising accuracy. The sights are, shall we say, rudimentary, but they are functional. You can use them. And the beauty part about this little gun, one, the Beretta is a very high quality pocket pistol. Literally, it's small enough to go in your pocket. This could be useful as a backup gun, certainly, because as you're going to see in just a minute, and as you saw at the beginning of the show, they are extremely shootable. Now, again, I can't break that balloon every time in 100 yards, but I think being able to break it at all with a tiny pocket gun at 90 yards, in fact, is pretty good performance for the gun. So, as I had mentioned earlier, this gun holds 7 in the magazine and 1 in the chamber, giving you a total of 8. And I tell you what, the performance of the 22 is better than we might think. We have chronographed this little gun with several different types of ammunition, and this is Remington high velocity 22 long rifle hollow point. This particular load has performed extremely well in our little Beretta. I think if for the utmost dependability in any 22 semi-automatic, you're probably better off with solid point bullets, but as I talked about earlier, as a possible backup gun or a tremendous trail gun, because if you have to shoot a snake or something like that in the head at a few feet, with this little gun as accurate as it is, you can just do it every time. You have very little noise, just almost no recoil at all. And let me remind you, all these little guns, you have to try several different types of ammunition, because different guns will prefer different cartridges for reliability and accuracy. This gun has been very reliable for what it is. You know, a number of these small handguns like this, some of them are pretty well made and cost a lot less than the Beretta, but I understand that a number of the magazines that some of the other guns use are a little bit weak. Well, this Beretta is nothing but quality through and through. It is so nicely made. Every piece on the gun, it fits, it acts like it's supposed to. Incidentally, this gun is made at a Beretta plant here in the United States, in Maryland, I believe. Anyway, these are very, very shootable guns. It is tiny, but for even someone with larger hands like I have, it is still easy to shoot. And I tell you what, friends, there's a factor in this particular gun that is so nice to find. It's one of the most fun handguns I think I ever shot. As we were talking about velocities a little earlier, your standard 22 long rifle high speed will run about 825 to 850 feet per second out of this little gun. The CCI Stingers, they went up to 1,050 or so, quite a bit faster. So really your performance is better than I would have suspected. Again, the heart of any automatic or semi-automatic gun, for that matter, not just pistol, but is the magazine. Your quality of magazine many times, along with the quality of your ammunition, will directly dictate how much reliability that you will or won't have. Also, there's something else I'll caution you about. Now, friends, a small gun like this, a lot of little children would think this is a toy. But believe me, it is not a toy and must be treated with at least as much respect as a full-size firearm at all times. We just cannot take chances. Another thing I want to mention, and of course to finish our loading procedure, our magazine's loaded, and we'll pop up our barrel there and put another cartridge in place.
Awesome firepower. Precision rifle skills. That's what you'll find along with lots more in these two great new videos, Marine Corps Firepower and Marine Corps Silent Drill Team. See an actual firepower demonstration of the latest Marine Corps weapons of the infantry, including the M220 Echo Tow missile system, grenade launchers, mortars, and lots more. Plus the Marine Corps Silent Drill Team, an incredible display of precision rifle handling skills by the most respected and admired rifle squad in the world. Two great new videos for one low price, just $19.95 through this special TV offer. Marine Corps Firepower and Marine Corps Silent Drill Team. Two videos for the price of one. Call and order yours right now.
Call toll-free with your credit card ready, 1-800-942-8273. By ordering today, you'll receive this 32-page gun video catalog absolutely free. So order now, 1-800-942-8273. Call now.
All right, friends, let's look at the little gun fire. You'll notice that first shot is double action, and then the succeeding shots will be fired single action. And of course, that was the last shot. We snapped on an empty chamber. As you can tell, our gun is definitely empty. Okay, before we get that thunderstorm, we've got several more things to do today. But let's shoot our little Beretta Model 21A on paper here from a relatively close distance. And let's let you see what it looks like as we're shooting the target. Okay, we're about 10 feet here or so, which is about as close as I want to get to a snake. Let's see what it looks like in the little square. Alright friends, I think you can see we have 8 holes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now that's at 10 feet, and of course if I work with a little gun, I'm sure my groups will be better, but that's not too bad, especially considering the size of the gun itself. Well friends, as a small gun, this Beretta Model 21A, the quality and workmanship, and for that matter function, is just excellent. That's the only way I could say it. It is not inexpensive. This little gun retails for a little over $200 in most places, but believe me, you do get what you pay for in this. You definitely get quality. If I was going to depend on one of these for a backup gun for serious, for a home defense gun, if that's all I could have, something like this, I believe that I'd buy the 22 long rifle to shoot and practice with and plank with and just have fun with and become ultra familiar with the gun. And then I'd spend a little more money and I'd get another gun just like this in 25 ACP, because then you have the reliability of a centerfire cartridge, and believe me, that could make the difference in a defensive situation or a situation where it absolutely had to work. These are very, very reliable for what they are. It is still a rimfire cartridge gun, and you're not going to have the level of reliability that a centerfire cartridge will have due to the nature of the cartridge itself. But I think that's what I would do. And friends, if you do buy one of these little semi-automatics or a big semi-automatic, either one, be sure and be willing to take a little bit of extra money and go out and buy about 200 rounds of ammunition, because all semi-automatics have to be broken in. They have to run, they have to function, just like breaking in your engine on your car. It takes some running to do it. And when I say running, I mean when the gun is working back and forth and functioning with all the parts that are moving that are supposed to. So friends, every semi-automatic, I recommend at least 200 rounds through the gun to make the surfaces to each other, to smooth up the action. And if you're going to depend on a semi-automatic gun, you at least owe it to yourself and your own peace of mind to go out. One, you can really get some lessons in shooting the gun while you're breaking it in, and I would say a minimum of 200 rounds through any semi-automatic to check for its reliability. So again, the Beretta Model 21A 22 long rifle.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, friends, all of us as gun enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots, with 3 big issues monthly and thousands of firearms bargains. Shotgun News, Post Office Box 669, Hastings, Nebraska. The zip is 68902. That phone number, area 402-463-4589. For MasterCard or Visa subscription only, 1-800-345-6923.
When I was 6 years old and living in Florida, my Aunt Dot went to England as a nurse during World War II. Before she left, she promised to bring me back a machine gun, and I was bitterly disappointed when she came home without it. She swears to this day that she had the gun, but they took it away from her when she went to get on board the ship. I might be a little older now, but not much has changed. I still enjoy machine guns, and I know that thousands of others out there do too. What you're about to see is the fun, the history, and some straight talk about one of the most misunderstood pieces of engineering in America. We'll be showing and shooting the widest array of machine guns ever assembled, from the oldest to the very latest. We'll talk about some of the developments in engineering, the mistakes, twists, and turns the gun has taken. If you've never shot a machine gun, or even if you have, we think you're about to embark on a fascinating journey that will include a grand finale worth waiting for. You probably first heard about the machine gun through comic books or the movies. It replaced the six-shooter as the entertainment gun of choice as we shifted from the days of the Old West to World War II. If anything, the machine gun has gained in popularity during the last few years, with the help of people like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
In 1991, it's been pretty good, really. We're doing Terminator 2, which is a fairly big picture. We've done Iron Eagle 3, I guess it is, called Ace's Eagles. There's a lot of gunfire in a lot of the movies that are going on right now, so we've been real busy. This particular piece right here was designed by the motion picture company itself for Terminator 2. We told them what type of gun to use in it so that it would be a workable prop, and it is a calico inside of it. We're always looking to do something that is different. Each individual that comes in, not all the time, but most of the time, wants something that looks different. Nobody else has seen it, and they want to be the only ones that have it. And so we try to do our best to make something that is different. This is called a Hawk. It's actually a tear gas gun, police tear gas gun, and it was used in the latest Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Richard J. Gatling was an inventor of industrial and farm and agricultural machinery prior to the days of the Civil War. He had as his personal friends Abraham Lincoln, for one, and a man by the name of Harrison, who was later to become a president of the United States, as well as Lincoln. He was a great inventor and liked to put pieces of machinery together and try to come up with a gun, and the Civil War offered an opportunity for Dr. Gatling to produce a weapon that he felt he could sell to the government to increase the ability of firepower. The military was not prone to adopt the Gatling gun at all, and so it had very limited use in the Civil War. There were 12 purchased by the United States Ordnance for $1,000 apiece. And it wasn't until after the Civil War and the problems out west with the western expansion and the need for additional firepower with Indians that the Gatling gun was indeed perfected. Even so, these guns, about 300 pounds each, still had a lot of problems in the field. They're not very mobile. They were normally operated in a bank of 6 to a battery. 6 guns firing in an oscillating mood like this would put out a horrendous field of fire, and no human being or animal were able to get through this fire, and this is where it became a very effective weapon.
It's heavy. It's not much good for anything like hunting, but it's very popular with collectors. It's expensive to shoot, expensive to own, and although it was famous for being part of crimes, today it's one of the safest, most legally owned guns that the owners are very careful about registration of, and in fact, crimes with legally registered machine guns have been almost non-existent since 1934. But they're beautiful weapons. It's easy to appreciate the artistry that goes into building something like this. This particular model is a 1921 Thompson that was reissued in 1928 for the U.S. Navy, and it's called a 1928 Navy Overstamp. It fires either from a clip magazine, like this, which carries 20 rounds, or a drum like this, which carries 50 rounds. And there are other options as well.
The pace is fast and furious. Timing is a key. Strategy is often as important as skill. And the challenge is truly all around. 3 entirely different shooting events in handgun, rifle, and shotgun, all wrapped up into one unique test of marksmanship. The Chevy Truck Sportsman's Team Challenge. You know, there are a lot of great shooting tournaments around the country these days, but there's nothing quite like the all-around shooting challenge of this event.
Now, friends, we want to tell you about one of the installments in the Chevy Truck Sportsman's Team Challenge, which will be taking place at the Shootout in Houghton, Louisiana on Highway 80, September 11 and 12. That phone number is area 318-949-9146. If you want to call them for information, they're going to have some great shooters there. John Satterwhite is going to be doing some shotgun demonstrations, just a lot of things. And we'll probably be out there with our shooting show cameras because it's really going to be an exciting time. Again, on September 11th and 12th at the Shootout in Houghton, Louisiana. That phone number again, area 318-949-9146. And now let's return to the machine gun magic tape with Mike Dillon.
The history of the machine gun is really a circle. It starts with the Gatling gun, goes through the Hotchkiss and the Maxims and the Brownings, through the Stoners, and then comes full circle back to the Gatling gun. 7.62, shoots 6,000 rounds a minute out of 6 barrels. It's the baby brother of the 20mm cannon that's found in all of today's modern Air Force fighters. In civilian hands, the minigun is a fairly rare piece. There can't be more than, maybe 20 that are possessed by civilian dealers. It's an exotic gun. It's hard to maintain in civilian hands, but it's a fascinating gun because of all the mechanical parts that have to function in time for it to operate. It's electrically driven, belt fed. In this particular mount, we have it fed out of a 1,000-round magazine, which is only good for about 20 seconds of fire.
Now, friends, we've been watching a brief excerpt or excerpts of the great machine gun magic tape from Dillon Precision. Now, as most of you know, Dillon Precision makes some of the finest reloading equipment that's available anywhere at any price, but they also make some real fine tapes, as we've just seen part of this one. If you're a machine gun enthusiast, if you like guns, well, this is one tape that you really ought to have. Now, you can get this from Dillon Precision Products Incorporated at 7442 East Bucyrus Drive in Scottsdale, Arizona. That zip code is 85260. Or give them a call at 1-800-421-7632. Trust me on this one, friends. This is a terrific tape. We only saw a small portion of it. If you like guns, you'll really enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Bill McIntyre with another update from Capitol Hill here at National Rifle Association headquarters in Washington, D.C. Recently, President Clinton announced his intention to introduce an anti-crime bill following the return of Congress from its summer recess. Right now, there is no crime bill, just a lot of speculation and promises. Promises of more gun control, like waiting periods on honest citizens, and a ban on bulky foreign-made handguns, and perhaps even a ban on domestic-made handguns. The president's aim on violent crime is off target. Law-abiding citizens are in his sights, not criminals. Criminals don't wait a week to steal guns or buy guns on the black market, but the president wants a Brady-style waiting period nationwide when that kind of control has already failed to lower crime rates in nearly all 22 states which already have a waiting period. The president also wants to restrict importation of so-called bulky handguns, expensive firearms rarely seen by criminals, much less used by them in crime. First, gun control advocates went after cheap, small Saturday night specials. Next, it was expensive, large rifles, often misnamed assault weapons. Now it's expensive, bulky handguns. This pattern bears out the real intent, to disarm American citizens incrementally for reasons having nothing to do with violent crime. All of this is a sideshow to the real solutions of violent crime. The surest way for the Clinton administration to refocus its sights on criminals and prevent and deter violent crime is to abandon its apparent preference for gun control and replace it with crime control in the form of expanded prison space, tougher jail time for violent criminals, and ending easy parole for the worst of the worst. To make certain our voices are heard, call and write your representative and your senators today. Let them know that gun control has no place in a real anti-crime bill. That's all for now. I'll be back next week. I'm Bill McIntyre. That's been an update from National Rifle Association headquarters here in Washington, D.C.
All right, people, the voters are screaming about violent crime. What are we going to tell them?
How about the truth? We're not keeping violent criminals in prison.
Sir, 35 states are under court order to release criminals.
The average criminal set free will commit 187 more crimes a year.
We're out of prison space.
We gotta make more. Good people are getting hurt bad.
With the likelihood of arrest and conviction, a murderer will spend 1.8 years in prison.
Yeah, and a rapist a couple of months.
I'm not in the prison building business.
We're in the re-election business. Thank you.
Listen, just a handful of repeat offenders commit most violent crime.
We could just stop letting them go.
Well, stop giving me the facts and start giving me headlines.
How about another gun control law?
Yeah, we've already got 20,000 of them.
It just don't work.
So my gun control plan to restrict firearm sales to citizens will break the back of violent crime and rid our streets of violent criminals. Do we have any questions?
Don't let politicians get away with murder. Join the NRA.
Friends, the Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
I'm proud to be an American, thank God our country's strong. But some time ago, you know, it occurred to me, there's something going wrong. My granddad fought against tyranny so we could all be free. I'm afraid, my friends, his fight has passed down to you and me, down to you and me. We got people telling us what to do, they don't even know our name. We're just a number on some little card, and I think that's a shame. If George and Abe could see us now, bet they'd both agree this is not exactly what they had in mind. The land of liberty, sweet land of liberty. Oh, I love to hear my Harley run. I like being free to live out my dreams, and I want to have a little fun. I want to hold on to what we've got, from sea to shining sea. I'm afraid, my friend, the fight has passed down to you and me. Oh, down to you and me. We got politicians and bureaucrats all telling us what to do. And they don't seem at all concerned about what they put us through. They tax and spend like there's no end, throw it all away. Just keep in mind there'll come a time when nobody's left to pay. Well, nobody's left to pay. There's people that wanna lock us up just to keep us away from harm. They want a police state to give us orders that they can get us unarmed. There's folks that say they know the truth. Well, they saw it on TV. We got some boys on Capitol Hill don't wanna have us free. No, they don't wanna have us free. My Harley run. I like being free to live out my dreams, and I want to have a little fun. I want to hold on to what we've got, from sea to shining sea. I'm afraid, my friends, the fight has passed down to you and me. Well, down to you and me.
Friends, we hope you enjoyed our video, certainly as much as we enjoyed making it for you. We appreciate all the support we've had from around the country, the phone calls, the letters, the people who have bought copies of it. It is extremely popular. I told someone the other day it really has our folks stirred up. Unfortunately, the message in our video is all too true. There are things going on in our society that we have to get a grip on. We have to face up to it, friends. We're in the fight. This is not going to be something that is going to be easily or overnight done. That's why we need the Shootin' Show to reach as many areas as possible, to let people know just what our message is as normal people, as gun owners, why we like to shoot, why we have guns. So please, if you buy something from one of our sponsors, because our sponsors literally make this program possible. Without them, we just could not do it. If you buy something from one of the people or sponsors you see on the Shootin' Show, please let them know that you saw it here. It's really important. And by the way, you can buy our Shootin' Show official cap for $12.95. You can buy our official Shootin' Show t-shirt for $14.95. You can buy a copy of our video for $17.95. You can buy our audio tape with our song Down to You and Me on there, with 9 other songs that I have written and performed, for $9.95. So you can get all these things certainly from the Shootin' Show Incorporated, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. The zip is 71104. Our phone number is area 318-222-8515. Also, if you'd like a copy of the Bullet Express mail order sheet, we'll be happy to send you one. Just drop us a line at the Bullet Express, care of the Shootin' Show, and we'll get you one out. I think you're going to find some things that you'll really enjoy looking at or having.
All right, friends, we're going to look at another couple of guns today. One, you're well familiar with our Ruger Super Blackhawk, which is a single action 44 Magnum, one of my favorite guns. But you know, a lot of people like to have a companion carbine such as this Ruger 44 Magnum semi-automatic, also in 44. And the advantage is these are small and light and handy, but you do get a velocity advantage even with the same cartridge. You can carry a handgun and a rifle that shoot the same cartridge. Well, the 44 Magnum can really take advantage of the extra power that's packed into those cases. When they say Magnum, the 44 is a pretty darn good rifle cartridge, believe me. On the standard 240 grain load, they come out of this barrel on the Super Blackhawk, or 7.5 inch barrel for that matter, at about 1,450 feet per second. The same load out of the carbine here comes out at 1,750 feet per second. So you pick up about 300 feet per second with the extra barrel length. And I'm going to guess this is about 18 or so inches. These are handy guns. They're about the size of a Mini 14, but for deer, they're just excellent. Ruger has gone out of production on these guns, and why, I don't know. But with most bullet profiles, they prove to be pretty reliable. This gun will shoot about like a Winchester Model 94 or a Marlin carbine, say at 100 yards. They'll shoot into 3 or 4 inches pretty easy at 100 yards. They're a lot of fun. This particular gun they're gas operated. You have a magazine that's underneath the barrel here. It holds 4 cartridges, and these are just such neat guns. They are somewhat collectible now. They have very little recoil. They're easy to shoot. They're an excellent deer gun for woods hunting, good for younger people, for women who are not can't deal with a lot of recoil. They don't have a whole heck of a lot, but they really are effective and potent within their usable range. So you load the gun, and we'll put some of the Remingtons in here underneath, like so. And like I said, it holds 4 in the magazine. So let's load it and see if we can finish this piece today before we get rained on or struck by lightning or both. And see, when we have 4 shells in it, I'll try and put a 5th in, but see, it won't go. It's a no-go. So you can have one you can load the chamber, pull that bolt handle all the way to the rear and let it go, and we'll put in one more. Now then, let's shoot the gun and let you look at it and see what you think. Woo, it is loud in the 44 Magnum. Have our safety, has a crossbolt safety in front of the trigger guard. Push our safety off, and all right. The Ruger 44 Magnum carbine, like I said, they're not in production on these guns anymore, but you can find them at gun shops and gun shows. The individuals have them, and you just have to check several different loads to see what it likes to shoot best. But they're very fine, very durable and reliable guns for those folks that might want a handgun and a carbine, or short rifle for that matter, that shoot the same cartridge. You know, friends, we're always looking at all kinds of things, and we look at a lot of new guns. But here's a gun that's not new, and you know, a lot of people at home, they may think, well, I don't have something new and stylish. And yes, some people are concerned about style in guns, believe it or not. Maybe they had a gun that their parents gave them, or they inherited, or maybe they just picked up a plinker for defense, or just to learn to shoot with. Well, you know what? That's a perfectly good reason. And just because your gun may or may not be fancy does not mean it may not be useful. This particular little 22 semi-automatic it belongs to a good friend of ours, and he asked me to bring it out, and it hadn't been shot in probably 20 years, and he wanted me to clean it and check it out. And I tell you what, I have really enjoyed handling the little gun. It's a manufacturer, d'armes des Pyrenees, and so I assume Pyrenees we think of Spanish makes in that particular area of the world. But this is a 9-shot, holds 9 in the magazine, that is, semi-automatic, and it is marked, how about J.C. Higgins? So this gun must have come through a Sears Roebuck store back in the 50s or even before. But I tell you what, it operates a little differently, and it's always an education. There's so much out there to learn, and you know, we handle so much stuff, and then I found out there's so much stuff that we hadn't seen yet. So this is a very fine little plinker. It works really well. We've got to put a little oil on it, a little cleaning, and it really is a lot of fun to shoot. And if you've got an old gun and you wonder about whether or not it's safe to shoot, well, go down to your local gunsmith of some reputation, I hope, and get them to thoroughly check it out. Some of the old guns that people have stuffed away in drawers and in closets are not shooters. But you know what? Some of them are. And this is one that just happens to be a shooter. And our good friend is going to get a lot of years of good, fun service out of this little .22 pistol.
You know, reliving the past can sometimes open up a whole new future. Hi, I'm Grits Gresham, and take it from me, muzzle-loading guns offer a brand new kind of old-fashioned shooting fun. Muzzleloaders provide a uniquely different way to test your shooting skills, and you can also hunt during the special muzzle-loading season. So take a step back in time and give muzzle-loading a try. And to make sure you get the right black powder gun and gear you need, see the real pro in your community.
Now, friends, for the absolute best in monthly shooting magazines, turn to Shooting Times. They have all sorts of excellent features on handguns, rifles, shotguns, and black powder by some of your favorite gun writers. Each month you'll find interesting articles on guns, shooting, reloading, and new products in the firearms industry. That, along with information on pending legislation of interest to all gun owners. For subscription information, call 1-800-727-4353. Shooting Times, the best there is. The Shooting Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. And now, friends, this week's feature from Art Alphin, Lieutenant Colonel Art Alphin, that is, retired formerly of West Point, and now with the great A-Square Company, builders of some of the finest high-powered rifles and ammunition in the world. For information on A-Square products, you can write to them at 1 Industrial Park, Bedford, Kentucky. That zip code is 40006, or you can give them a call at area 502-255-7456.
You are looking at a photograph of a U.S. Army soldier of the 1880s on the rifle range. He is in the Creedmoor position, the equivalent of our prone position today, and used for shooting at over 600 yards. The 1870s and 80s saw the growth in the U.S. and Britain of a feverish interest in rifle marksmanship. Almost all rifle matches included stages of fire at 600, 800, and 1,000 yards. High scores would indicate that all rounds at 1,000 yards had fallen into a bullseye 3 feet in diameter. By the 1880s, the scoring rings were consistently being shrunk, and high scores indicated still higher standards of marksmanship. Long-range rifle fire was not a trick and was put to use in the American West. The most famous incident of long-range shooting occurred in June 1874 at the Battle of Adobe Walls in the Texas Panhandle. In this battle, 24 buffalo hunters had been trapped in a cluster of adobe buildings by a war party of Indians. In the lull after 2 unsuccessful attacks, a group of Indians were seen sitting on their ponies on a bluff. A buffalo hunter by the name of Billy Dixon took his .50-90 Sharps rifle, adjusted his sights, and fired a shot, toppling one of the Indians from his horse. That shot ended the Battle of Adobe Walls. The distance from Dixon's position to the Indian was later surveyed and found to be 1,538 yards. It may have been a lucky shot, but it was certainly a shot that could only have been made with the proper rifle used by the proper individual. This was the Sharps long-range buffalo rifle. While some Westerners wanted compatibility of ammunition between their rifle and their revolver and were willing to sacrifice range to get it, there was a large number of Westerners and Eastern target shooters who wanted long-range effectiveness. For this long-range effectiveness, they paid a price in a slightly reduced volume of fire, greater weight of the weapon, and more money spent on ammunition consumed in practice. The practice was required because muzzle velocities were still low. Combat ranges were about 160 yards battle sight and 400 adjust sight. Beyond this, range estimation became more and more critical. At ranges of 1,000 yards, for example, range estimation had to be very tight, and normally the shooter had to re-zero his rifle for that range. With the 45 and 50 caliber bullets involved, this re-zeroing could be done by watching the impact of the bullet. A shooter could put 1 or 2 rounds in the dirt in front of a buffalo herd, readjust his sights, and then begin dropping buffalo. It is against this background that a series of developments took place in the 1880s and 90s. The first development was smokeless powder. This was nothing more than the harnessing of nitroglycerin and nitrocellulose in a solid form. Though black powder and smokeless powder may look the same, they are vastly different. Smokeless powder had far more energy per unit weight and per volume than did black powder. Further, by controlling the composition and the size of the granules of the powder, its burning rate could be controlled and therefore tailored to any application at hand. This development meant that muzzle velocities far in excess of those attained with black powder were now possible. But if the large bore cartridges were used, then the recoil from large bullets being launched at high velocities would be far beyond what the average man could withstand. Consequently, the introduction of smokeless powder caused an immediate reduction in bore sizes from the 45 caliber range down to the 30 caliber range. As the bores became smaller and velocities higher, the naked lead bullet could not withstand the heat and pressure of launch. This brought about new bullets where the lead did not touch the bore. 2 Swiss, Schmidt and Rubin, came up with the first practical jacketed bullets. A jacketed bullet is just as you see here, a gilding metal envelope surrounding a lead core. The lead gives the bullet weight and density, while the jacket gives strength and keeps the lead from touching the bore. The same 2 individuals, along with numerous others, were working on new systems of storing cartridges within the weapon. The French, after the adoption of smokeless powder, had simply necked down their old black powder cartridge case to 8mm Lebel and put it in a weapon that was only a slight improvement from their basic Chassepot and Gras designs. Their rifle even included a tubular magazine. Schmidt and Rubin, along with a number of others, such as Mannlicher of Austria and Mauser of Germany, wanted to store the cartridges one on top of the other so that the nose of the bullet of one cartridge would not be pressing against the primer of the next cartridge. To this end, Schmidt and Rubin made the sides of the cartridge case parallel so that they would stack neatly, and eliminated the rim on the cartridge. The rim of the cartridge was normally what the extractor worked upon, so they turned an extractor groove in the base of the cartridge. The rimless cartridge was born, and the box magazine, where cartridges are stacked one on top of the other, was now practical. Mannlicher decided that if a box magazine could be had, then it no longer be loaded with individual cartridges. He created the Mannlicher clip loading system, or what we now call the N-block clip. In this system, the weapon itself had the magazine follower and follower spring. The N-block clip, holding anywhere from 3 to 6 cartridges, was pressed into the weapon from the top and retained in it. The N-block clip held the cartridges and provided the feed lips, while the rifle provided the follower and follower spring. After firing the last shot, the Mannlicher clip simply dropped out the bottom of the rifle, the soldier inserted a new clip of rounds from above, and was ready to fire. By 1893, Mauser had improved this still further by discarding the single column, that is, cartridges stacked one above the other, and creating the staggered double column box magazine. The advantage to this was that the magazine was wholly within the rifle and virtually immune from handling damage. Further, the feed lips were milled into the steel of the receiver, thereby being much stronger than the flimsy sheet metal of the N-block clips. In order to load this magazine rapidly, Mauser designed the stripper clip. This clip holds 5 rounds and is inserted into the weapon from above. The rounds are then pushed into the magazine and the stripper clip discarded. While all this development was going on, one should remember that cartridge cases were constantly being made stronger. Further, the metallurgical industry and the machine tool industry were enjoying rapid advances in the 1880s and 90s. Alloy steels were being introduced, and man's knowledge of heat treatment of steel was improving. The improvements in the machine tool industry meant that products could be made in larger quantity and with much greater precision. Without going into the history of specific weapons, the industrialized nations of the world all had magazine-fed bolt-action rifles of one sort or another by the 1890s. One might ask, however, if the black powder breech loaders were regularly shooting to 1,000 yards, what advantage did the bolt action have over them? Watch the following scene carefully. See if you can spot the advantages. The sharp-eyed among you will have picked out two things. The first was the charger loading of the bolt-action magazine rifle. The other factor is more subtle, though perhaps more important. You should have seen that out to 330 yards, the bolt-action magazine rifle fired from battle sight, while the black powder breech loader had to adjust sights. This is due to a number of factors. The bolt action was much stronger and could withstand higher pressures. This, coupled with smokeless powder, jacketed bullets, and stronger cartridge cases, meant much higher muzzle velocities. On the chart, this difference becomes obvious. The volume of fire with the bolt-action magazine rifle is roughly double that of the single-shot black powder breech loader, while its battle sight and adjust sight range is greatly improved. Initially, this was roughly double the breech loader. By the turn of the century, man became better educated as to aerodynamics, and the bullets changed from the heavy round nose that you see on the left to the lighter, higher velocity Spitzer bullets, which were also much more aerodynamically efficient.
Now, friends, we'll have to let Art finish talking about smokeless powder on another program because we're so short of time. But meanwhile, let me tell you about the finest gun cleaner, in fact, that I have ever found. This is RB17. Now, you can look for this in your local gun shop, or you can get it from us here through the Bullet Express on the Shootin' Show. It will remove lead residue, copper fouling. It's the most unbelievable cleaner that, like I said, I have ever found. It's not that expensive. It lasts a long time. In fact, it'll even remove rust off gun parts with like quad-aught steel wool. Put a little bit on the steel wool and rub it. It'll remove rust without removing the bluing. It's the darndest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, RB17, the finest cleaner as far as I'm concerned, money can buy. And friends, remember Larry Scott's Interstate Road Show on KWKH Radio, 1130 on your AM dial, midnight to 5:30 a.m. weekdays. Friends, we hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Shootin' Show. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Remember, if there's something going on in your area, please let us know. There's a chance that Kurt or myself may be able to cover it. Until next week, look forward to seeing you again on another Shootin' Show.